Hello, everybody. Welcome to With Wisdom, Embodying Energy Embraces Seasons. And we are in a new month, in the month of December, wrapping up the year for most of the people and closing businesses and closing the year of activities. So we are together with Sam today to open this month and invite you for several reflections.
Mhm.
How are you, Sam? What is December bringing up to you?
Well, December unfortunately is bringing me a little bit of a blocked nose, as what happens in the winter months. Often those lovely germs can kind of find us at this time. I'm hoping it's no more than just a little blocked nose, so we'll wait and see. December, oh my goodness me! Well, I've got the sun streaming in on my face. You can see that
Mm-hmm.
through the camera. Sorry, there, and I don't really want to. I don't really want to sort of hide it. I want to kind of keep it there because I can feel this warmth. Because outside, it's actually rather chilly. It's rather chilly, and I have got a nice thick jumper on today just to kind of make keep me cozy. Because there's something about December and the word cozy that comes
Mm-hmm.
to me, and it feels a bit strange saying that word when I've got light streaming in on my face. But there's that loss of light that we very much notice now in December,
Mm-hmm.
coziness and warmth and going into the darkness definitely is coming up for me in December.
Mm-hmm.
And that piece around, I kind of sometimes envy those animals that can go off and hibernate. The books that I used to read as a child about, various different animals that would go off and snuggle in their burrow and
Mm-hmm.
hibernate. When I was growing up, we had a tortoise, and every winter we'd have to put him in a tea chest full of straw to provide him with that warmth over the winter so that he could hibernate. And there was
Mm-hmm.
something around like, oh, a little bit of jealousy that why couldn't we as humans go away and hibernate? But actually, as I've grown up and become an adult, I realize that we can. And it's not through going off and sleeping and going into hibernation mode, but we can do that retreat and use the winter as a chance to refresh, restock, and reflect. I think that word reflect on who we are and how we show up in the world. And actually, I think December is that wonderful opportunity, or the beginning of winter is the wonderful opportunity to do just that. I'm just going to just pause there and let those words sink into my body, as well as maybe to any of our listeners who've come and joined us today. Because as we move towards that solstice part of the year, the winter solstice, when there is the shortest day, so it's a day of thinking about there's not a lot of light, but it's also a day when we are celebrating the increase of light from the next day. So it's that tipping point. We're going towards those tipping points. And a thousand other voices have just come into my head. But what about Christmas, Sam? What about shopping, Sam? What about all my Christmas parties, Sam? Or what about Hanukkah? Or what about, the whatabouts have come in then? What are you talking about? This is the busiest time of the year. We're coming up to the end of the year. There's so much to do. And so humans have managed to fill this time. We have managed to fill this time of reflection with busyness.
Mm.
Mm. What about you, Gabby? There's more I would like to share, but I'd love to hear your viewpoint first.
Yeah. Um, you know, for me, it has been always the time of the year I love the most since I was a kid. As December approached, my grandma started to bake and do
Mm.
cookies, Christmas cookies. She started like in November, I think. I don't remember, but for me it was a long time. So it was like it means home. It
Mm,
means this quiet being together.
mm,
And gathering around the preciousness of life and what we have to share, but in a more quiet and loving way in comparison with what we do in summer. So I remember that, and I remember also my grandpa bringing the tree to our home that he used to cut himself, which was I mean, it's not the normal thing that they do in Venezuela. It's my grandparents came from Estonia, so we had like yeah, traditions that were more Nordic and fitting more to where I am nowadays.
yeah.
And so I used to love a lot December. And when I moved to Europe was challenging because in Venezuela it was with this aspect at my home, and outside was sunny and warm and and I had to learn, or I have been learning to love the darkness in here.
Mm,
And I recognize in these past years I'm very much looking forward to this quietness that you mentioned,
mm,
and seeing how, yeah, what you said, how human beings, as we are afraid of giving up our control of over things, we are then tending to waste this gift of silence and listening into doing, just to avoid feeling what we feel. No, it might be it's a survival strategy not to sit with what might be maybe uncomfortable also, no, because also you hear from many people that this time of the year might be threatening for some people because they
yes.
are gonna be with their families, and since during the year you are always doing things, then it's a time some of the yeah, non-agreements between families and
Yes.
friends
Yes.
arise. Yeah, so it's a dance. It's a learning to be
Mm,
with uncomfortable, and for me, that's what meditation, for example, trains you for. Meditation. One of my teachers once said, and I found it interesting to see it from that perspective, is that in meditation, this tendency to have the head full of thoughts, it's the response of the brain for not being sitting with what you are feeling. And it's actually the opportunity to complete and close cycles of feelings and emotions and experiences, like we sometimes do at the end of the year. No, I know you do it and I do it, that we get some time to reflect on our year or on our intentions and
mm,
listening once what wants to arise. So yeah, yeah, my invitation is to maybe get into the habit of stopping more, listening more, and being the stillness and the
mm.
uncertainty.
And I gotta just sort of say this is this, and it's not. We talk about the end of the year, and we're a seasonal, channel, and this is what we're talking about. But this is about an end of a cycle. But these ends of cycles can come at different points of the year. So
Mm-hmm.
it's actually learning, is learning to pause at the end of a cycle, whether that's in our personal or our professional life, to give ourselves a moment of quietness before we start the next cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we continue to do this and then go straight back into another one and straight back into another one, what happens is we don't refresh ourselves. And it's that piece that's so important. As a gardener, I know that the soil needs time to rest and replenish itself over winter. The frost needs to get in to kill off any sort of, germs, and provide, break down the soil, break down the leaf litter that's fallen, so that actually it composts, and it kind of provides goodness for the
Mm-hmm.
soil. It feeds, it's feeding the soil. So for us, we also need that feeding time as well, that time where we can have a replenish ourselves. So going back in quickly, straight after the end of a one cycle and into another, isn't helpful.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you leave it also, if may I add, every day.
Yeah,
It's the cycle of a
exactly.
day, no? You go
Yes.
in the day. If you see it from the day, in the morning you are in the wood element. In the spring of the day, so you are starting with
Mm.
the energy that brings you upward.
Up. Yeah,
In the mid of the day, you are in the fire energy, where you are doing, communicating, connecting ideas,
lovely.
and performing whatever projects you are planning. And then at the end of the day, you come into first in the earth element, to digest what you lived during the day, to see what you take from that, what you live in that day. And then comes the metal, which is autumn, where you go down and start to descend. And then the
Mm.
big uncertain moment is when you go in full trust in sleep, because you when you go to sleep, you trust fully in life, right, that you are going to go
You're going to
sleep
wake
and
up.
your body is going to work. And
Yeah.
during sleep is the moment where your brain cleans. No, if, that's why it's
Mm.
so important, a good sleep health and a good sleep habits, because it's allowing to cleanse all your body and your brain, that you can start all over again the
And
next
that's
day.
when the water comes in, which is
Yeah,
absolutely wonderful. And
yeah.
I think that water element for me, in when it kind of goes a little bit out of control, is when you get the flooding. So there's a sort of kind of almost a flood and this can happen in the wintertime generally
Mm-hmm.
in the world, the flooding time, but it's navigating that for ourselves, so we don't get ourselves so washed out. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
kind of term it, so washed out that we can't do anything else. So it's so important. I love the way that you described that. Wood, fire, earth, metal, water, through a daily cycle,
Mm-hmm.
and how we can see that through the year cycle,
Mm-hmm.
because the water is what we were when we were we've alluded to this over September, and I think even into November. When we're in our mother's womb, we
Mm-hmm.
are in we're in amniotic fluid.
Mm-hmm.
We're in water. So we've so kind of been able to retreat back into that quietness, that womb-like places that we can create in our own homes and in our lives through meditation, is a genuinely supportive place for us
Mm-hmm.
to be replenished. The challenge for me, I'm going to say right now though, Gabby, is at this time of the year, and this is something I know as somebody who's been probably a recovering busy person. I think that recovery journey is going to go on for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I genuinely think that's going to be the case, and that's okay for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because whenever I come to the end of something, immediately, because I'm thinking of all the things that have gone well in a project or gone well over the year, I have all of these new seeds and fruits that suddenly are placed in front of me, and my creative brain goes right back into, or can go right back into planning again.
Mm.
And I have been resourcing myself, and I hope you don't mind, but I'd like to read something.
Yeah, for
That's okay.
sure.
I've been resourcing myself through this little book here called The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin, and I'll pop it into the chat. I think we'll pop it in the notes underneath the
Mm-hmm.
video.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a new book. I think it came out a couple of years ago, but there's one little piece that I've read it and it's just helped me. So for any of you out there who may be in this busy mind, where you're coming to the end of something, coming to the end of a year, and immediately wanting to flick into starting again, maybe this might help. Are you okay for me to read it?
I love it. Thank you very
It's
much.
called Seeds, because as in autumn, we've been gathering all those seeds, a bit like the squirrels. In the first phase of a creative process, we are to be completely open, collecting anything we find of interest. We can call this the seed phase. We're searching for potential starting points that, with love and care, can grow into something beautiful. At this stage, we're not comparing them to find the best seed, we simply gather them. A seed for a song could be a phrase, a melody, a bass line, or a rhythmic feel. For a written piece, it may be a sentence, a character sketch, a setting, a thesis, or a plot point. For a structure, it might be a shape, a material choice, a function, or the natural properties of a location. And for a business, it could be a common inconvenience, a societal need, a technical advancement, or a personal interest. Collecting seeds typically doesn't involve a tremendous amount of effort. It's more a receiving of a transmission and noticing. As if catching fish, we walk to the water, bait the hook, cast the line, and patiently wait. We cannot control the fish, only the presence of our line. The artist casts a line to the universe. We don't get to choose when a noticing or an inspiration comes. We can only be there to receive it. As with meditation, our engagement in the process is what allows the result. Collecting seeds is best approached with active awareness and boundless curiosity. It cannot be muscled, though perhaps it can be willed.
Mm-hmm.
And from that piece, that line, we cannot control the fish, only the presence of our line. And for me, at the beginning of December, the presence of my line is really in my head. How am I there just receiving this information, collecting the seeds that I'm going to possibly plant in my personal or professional or business life in the future? What's the quality of my landscape, my inner landscape right now?
Mm.
That's a question I'm asking myself.
Well, yeah, I may just share with you something a practice I do in this time. Well, uh, almost always, but in this time of the year, it's like in Qigong, there's a focus, or when we practice, we focus on the Dantian, in the lower Dantian. There's different Dantians, but there's one in the near your umbilical cord, which is your center and then you start to sense there and breathe there, and start to feel how the pelvic floor is this seabed, the floor of the sea, and the Dantian is the surface of your sea, and start to sense how is your water there, no? And connect with that water and bring whatever energy you mentioned many times your creative brain, but actually for me in the past years it has transformed from a creative brain into a vessel where I can receive whatever is transmitted in this line that you said, and it comes from this conversation with my belly. In the belly, we have all this intuition and senses, and the other brain. So it might help to from time to time come into contact with your sea and your waters in the lower dantian, in our kidneys, where which are one of the organs of the water, and just breathe there and sense how is your seabed. It's called seabed, right?
Yeah, the seabed, absolutely.
The seabed, and in between your pelvic floor and your dantian, how are your waters? Do they nourish from the deepness of the earth and the warmth of the winter sun?
And if I'm taking that whole metaphor into my body, if I'm the seabed is in my gut, and then up here are the ripples are on the top of the waves of the on the surface of the sea, and that's where you get the light shining and kind of bright lights and bright sparkles. So in order for this to work, the seabed has got to be clean, not polluted, thriving communities. So my gut microbiome needs to be thriving. We can apply all of this to things we already know about keeping ourselves healthy in the fullest sense of the word healthy. Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
I mean, it's the same as what Anna Yael was talking to us in November about being really aware of the breath and taking not just here, but lower.
Yeah.
So maybe we just pause here, Gabby, and in our next session we'll have for our viewers we'll have an exercise that maybe they might like to take part in or try out to get into that place of deep listening and being at one with self in the reflective space. So we're going to sign off. So with wisdom. So it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye for me also. And thank you very much for being with us. And don't forget to subscribe, share, and like, and also comment, because we nourish ourselves by reading your experiences and keep going the wisdom in the community. So thank you very much and see you soon.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.